Myofascial Release series. This is video number 2 in the series. The first video that we shot was the general release that we did with the 10-pound medicine ball. Today we're going to go through the advanced release of the lower extremity. We're going to be targeting slightly different areas, but this time with a massage ball. Now you can use a massage ball or a lacrosse ball, but I prefer the massage ball only because it's a little bit more forgiving and it's a little bit more tackier. So it affects the muscles in a slightly different way. So for this release, we're going to go through 6 different releases, and we're going to hit both sides, okay? So before we start, I want to talk about positioning. So in the first video, we talked about the quad, the IT band, the hamstring, and the adductor. So the front of the leg, the outside, the back of the leg, and the inside. So with this ball, what we're going to hit are what we call the 45s. Now there's 4 different spots that we're going to hit. We're going to hit the anterior 45s, there's 2 of them at the top and the bottom, and we're going to hit the posterior 45s in the back and at the top at the bottom. Where are the 45s? So if you imagine your legs kind of in a rectangular shape, the 45s are where the front and the outside of your legs meet. So if they met like this 45-degree line of your leg is the anterior 45, and the same thing on the back. So the outside and the back of the leg, where that back 45. I'll try and show you this back 45 is what we're going to hit. So we're going to jump back and forth between the top of the top of the 45 in the front and the top of the 45 in the back. Then we're going to the top of the bottom of the 45 in the front and the bottom of the 45 in the back. So for this first one, we're going to try to position this ball on this front top spot. So you're going to feel the front of your pelvis. You'll feel a very bony landmark, and you're just going to go 1 inch below that. You might feel a really thick tendon, that's your quadricep tendon, and you're just going to be on the outside of that right there. That's where the ball is going to be positioned, okay? So in order to do this release, we're going to, I should go the other way. I'm going to position the ball right here. And I'm basically just lying down. This front leg is going to come up. And just basically get on top of the ball and start your timer. So the same thing applies, guys. We're moving very slowly. We're looking for a spot that's achy and spreads. So right there is a pretty good spot on me. We're just going to relax on that spot. I'm just going to lift up here so you can kind of see where that ball is. I don't know if you can see it. It's right in here. You see the positioning of my leg. You can see I'm kind of on this angle. And I'm trying to relax all my weight through that ball. It's intense. The 45s are amazing spots for myofascial release. Oftentimes, this is where a lot of the people feel some of the biggest effects and releases from doing this kind of work. Now when I go switch to my left side, I'm not going to flip around. I'm going to purposely stay on this side, but face this way, so you can see how my body's positioned from the back side. Okay, 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Timer goes off. Now, if I'm face down, I'm going to find that bony spot, put the ball right there, and kind of roll onto it, Just like that. Hit the timer, and I'm basically relaxing onto the ball as best as I can. Is the ball visible?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see, it's very subtle, you can see I'm tractioning my body up a little bit. So I'm trying to pull myself up and the ball's kind of stable. I can slide my body down on the ball, so the ball moves up a little bit. I'm just exploring the different corners of that spot to find the achiest spot that I can and hold that for the 2-minute time. If you remember the first video, I said it's a minimum of 2 minutes, but you can spend a lot longer if you need to, depending on how bad the tissue is. Now, I should have said this in the beginning, but you should definitely do the general release before you're doing the advanced release. But you know, it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. Do the general release first. This is more advanced work. It comes later. It comes slowly with time. And you'll figure that out really quickly if you try to do the advanced releases. Some spots are just going to scream at you. It's going to be too intense. That's why the bigger ball for the general releases is a better place to start. Okay, 1 second. Good. Awesome. Okay. Now we're going to hit the posterior backside 45 at the top. The spot that we're trying to target, again, is this high glute, this meaty spot on the top of your butt. You're just going to get this ball, position it right in here. How you do that, you're going to take a seat, you're going to feel that spot, kind of start leaning your weight into it. And you're basically going to come down on your side, and you're going to get your knee to the ground if you can. Start the clock. You're basically on your side, and my body's at a 45-degree angle. My leg is nice and flat to the ground, and this is pretty intense. For me, doing this release on the massage ball is better than the medicine ball because it gets in deeper, and I can hit very specific spots with this ball because it's a lot smaller. So the effect for me on this ball is different than the medicine ball. But definitely start with the medicine ball if you've never done this release before. This is another one where it's not going to take a lot for you to find an achy spot. Remember the breathing. Every out breath, you're trying to relax, get that ball to sink in deeper towards the bone. The deeper you can get the tool by relaxing, the bigger the release, the bigger the effect you're going to have on the tissue. That is bad. So if I were just doing this on my own, I would go way past the 2-minute mark on this release. The longest I've spent on a release is about 20-25 minutes on just one release. 3 seconds left. Good. Okay, we're gonna switch sides here. Again, easy way to do this. sit up, you're going to feel the outside of your hip here. Position the ball right there and kind of fall into it. Very controlled. Okay, start the time. Another comment on the breathing. This is an excellent time to work on your breathing. It can get quite meditative. Nice, slow and controlled breathing in and out through the nose. This one in particular is a release that a lot of people that have hip pain find great relief from. A lot of hip pain is felt in the hip, but really a lot of times it's the tissue that surrounds the hip that's getting too tight and constricted, and that's what needs to be released. I've had, I'd say, half a dozen people that have avoided surgeries or avoided getting steroid injections in their hip simply by doing a simple release. So next up is we're going to move back to the anterior 45. So the first one we did, we were hitting the top of the anterior 45. Now we're going to target the lower 45. So if the top was an inch below this bony spot on your pelvis, we're going to go 3 to 4 inches lower than that, okay? This one, you're going to position yourself flat on the floor, face down. You're going to get this ball on the inside here. You're going to slowly roll your leg on top of it, and this is the key. This back foot is going to come off the ground. Okay, start the timer. And you can see how my foot is kind of pointing in this direction. I'm really trying to hit that 45-degree angle on the front of the leg, in between the IT band and the quadricep muscle. And this is one of the ones that is also a very, very tight spot in a lot of people. In this one, you can play around with the technique of squeezing the front of your leg, the quad muscle, and then again relaxing and getting the ball to sink in deeper. 30 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Also another spot I could have spent a lot more time on. Okay. So face down. You're going to come down the leg, about 4 or 5 inches. And you're kind of rolling on to that leg. Your opposite knee can come up for support. And start the time. See the ball in there? See how the heel's pointing towards you. This big toe is kind of pointed down at this 45-degree angle. Remember, you can squeeze the quad muscle really, really tight for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then completely go limp and relax. Let the ball sink in deeper towards the bone. You probably can't see it on the camera, but the front of my leg is shaking a little bit. Because the muscle doesn't want me to be on there. And that's what I'm trying to mentally relax. Okay. That's good. The last of the 45s. So now we're going to hit the bottom of the posterior 45. So the first one that we hit in the backside was the top part. Now we're going to hit the bottom of the 45. So where the hamstring and the IT band meet, we're going to be about 4 or 5 inches lower than the top one. So right about here. This one you're going to position the ball underneath here on a 45. And you're just going to basically lay back. I'm going to start the time. 2 minutes. So the ball is in this back 45, this pocket of tissue right here. I'm going to add my foot on top of it to add more pressure. For this one, you might want to just sit up to have more pressure come through that spot. You can use your hand to add more weight. And you're basically looking for the achy spot that spreads. This one on me is not too bad. I'm not feeling too much of an ache, but we're gonna just work through it. I'll find something eventually. Right there, okay. We're gonna hang up there for the remainder of this time. Try to keep these videos very simple, so it's not very technical, but I do want to give you some education as we're going through them. So what we want to see with this fascia and all tissues in the body, there's different layers of tissues, and what's supposed to happen is all tissues should be able to move and slide freely. When you have adhesions in the fascia or the connective tissue, it creates restrictions in that movement. It doesn't move as well as it should. And over time, what you start to feel are these really tender, achy, sore. Sometimes it can get very gunky and it feels like a knot. That's what we're trying to break up, trying to get that tissue to move more freely. Five seconds left. Okay, now I'm gonna re-demo that on this side. So back 45 here, on the back of the leg, position the ball, kind of lean into it. And you can see my leg is at this 45-degree angle. Start the time. This side's a bit worse than my other side. If you find that some spots aren't so bad for whatever reason, still spend a minimum of 2 minutes just to keep a good balance between the left and the right side. And if one spot on the left or the right is worse, spend a little bit more time. You can pause this video at any time during the release and just spend more time there. And when you're ready to move on, just hit play and continue with the releases. I'm going to say all the releases that we've shown you, that we're showing you in this video and any other video, they're done in a sequence on purpose, so just follow the sequence. Don't skip any videos, or any of the releases I should say. Do them in the order that they're being prescribed. If you feel like the pain's like an 8 out of 10 when you first start, by the end of the release it should go down to like a 2, 3, or 4, like a much more manageable ache. If not, it completely goes away. Goal is to make it hurt less over time. Okay, 3 seconds left, 1. Amazing. Okay, so that's the 45s. So we're going to show you 2 more releases in this advanced series. The first being the IT band on the outside here. So this is release number 5 that we're showing you in this video. So this is a more advanced release on the IT band. We're going to lay on our side in the fetal position because this is going to make us cry. You're going to position the ball on the outside here and basically stack your legs. The camera can catch that. I'm on the outside of the leg in the middle of the IT band. And let me tell you, this is way more intense than the medicine ball. Most people can't jump right to this. This is going to be very, very sensitive. A lot of people might find that even that, the medicine ball is too intense. If you're finding yourself not even being able to take a breath or stay on that spot because of how tender it is, stick with the medicine ball release for a lot longer. You don't have to jump right to the massage ball. If you're the person that finds the medicine ball to be too intense, take a hand towel, roll it up, position it where I have this ball, and just lay on your side. For some people, that might be too intense, and that's the only thing they can manage. Start small and work up. Work your way up. And as you get more advanced, you can move the ball more towards the knee. That's where some people need it. Others might need it up closer to the hip. everyone's a bit different. This is definitely one where you don't want to go into the pain cave. This is stick it out for the minimum amount of time, 2 minutes. Go longer if you're bigger. Five seconds left. 1, good. Okay, switch over to my left side. I'm pretty sure this is going to be my worst side. So start in the middle of the outside of the leg. Position the ball. Get into your fetal position. Stack the leg to add the weight. Start the time. Get the ball. And if you're doing this with a lacrosse ball, it's going to be even more intense because the lacrosse ball has no compression. It's very, very dense. So in that case, this massage ball is a little bit more forgiving, but still really intense. Now, while you're in this fetal position, you can breathe, try not to cry. Notice the little movements I'm doing with my leg. I'm just moving it back and forth over the ball very, very slowly. Again, searching all the corners, looking for where the peak of the ache is, the middle of the ache. If you're a bit brave, you can play with lifting the bottom foot off the ground to make the release a bit more intense. And play with straightening the leg completely out. Okay, now we're going to do the last release in this series, in this advanced series. For this one, I prefer to do this on a harder surface. If you have a box or a sturdy coffee table, that would be good. For this, I'm going to use these 7 boxes to demonstrate for you. So you can do this on a hard wooden chair. It's the best probably. So what we're going to do is you're going to take this massage ball, you're going to place it in the middle of the hamstring muscle and sit on it. You're going to back here, position it, sit on it. I'm going to grab my phone. So you see the ball in there. I'm going to sit with a nice upright posture. Start the time. And what you want to do is roll your pelvis forward and try to straighten your knee. Straighten the leg out in this position. And you can see my leg shaking because it's how tight the muscle is. I cannot extend my leg because that hamstring muscle is quite tight. I should be able to get this completely straight if that was a good, happy muscle. Remember, you don't want to slouch the posture. You want to be sitting up, chest pointing up and extending through your T-spine and trying to extend that knee. You can play with the ball going outside on the lateral hamstring muscle, or you could play it going on the inside of the medial hamstring muscle. Start in the middle and figure out what part of your hamstring is the most dysfunctional. Now I started with my right side. My left side is going to be a lot worse. You're continually trying to straighten that knee out. You get a good shake going like that, you know it's a good release. Okay, 1 second left, good. All right, I'm gonna switch sides. I'm gonna turn facing this way so that you can get a side view of what I'm doing here. So, sitting on my chair, a box in this case for me. Positioning that right in the middle of that muscle and bringing all my weight through it. Okay, timer started. Start that again. Restarting now. Good. And just exploring. If you can find a table, a chest, a chair, where you can get all the way back on it, this is a little short, it's not deep enough for me, it's better. You have much more mobility in terms of positioning of the ball and how you can move your leg around. You can move this ball all the way to the front, the bottom of the hamstring here where it inserts into the knee. For now, I'm just going to hang out here. Same concept, but having the ball lower, you're going to hit just different spots, really. It's just the only reason why you would have that. And you're trying to extend the knee. The more I try to extend the knee, the more shake I'm getting. Three seconds, 2, 1, 0. All right. Okay guys, so that's the end of the advanced myofascial release for the lower extremity. We covered the anterior 45s, the posterior 45s, the IT band, and we covered the hamstring release. And again, I'm going to restate that you should start with the general release first with a 10-pound medicine ball. You go to these smaller balls when you're getting less of an effect with the medicine ball. So the medicine ball is going to give you a bigger, general, broader release. Then you're going to get to the point where it's not hurting as much, and then that's when you advance to something like this. You don't jump to something like this, especially if this is the first time doing it. Okay? Look out for more videos. We're going to be releasing more myofascial release videos using different tools. We're going to be talking about different tools as well. All right? Until next time, guys.